When you think of a classic that is Doom, what usually comes to mind is a fast-paced shooter. And you would be correct in thinking that because that is the main component of the game, which comes down to a lot of moving and shooting. But I also think the success of Doom and its impact has a lot to do with other factors. Yes, it hugely innovated graphics, multiplayer, etc. But that's not what I'm going to focus on here. In terms of gameplay, part of the reason why it works so well is that there are interwoven game mechanics that you as a player are managing at any given moment. These different mechanics layered on top of each other provide varied dynamics to the gameplay at any given moment. So for example, you're in a situation where you have to deal with a lot of enemies. The other side of this is that you are dealing with a few enemies but your health is very low, or those few enemies also pose a different threat such as being hit scan. In these two examples, different game mechanics come to the forefront and change the dynamics of the gameplay. One revolves around enemy count and the other around health levels and or the type of enemy. You are basically managing things such as enemies, ammo, health, armor, etc. simultaneously within the game at any given moment. This is what I would say helps create the dynamics to the core gameplay of shooting in Doom. What I am referring to here is the way that the game has been able to maintain its longevity and legacy over the years. This in part comes down to the open source nature of the game that id Software pioneered. This then enabled enthusiasts to mod the game. This combined with the excellent gameplay, 3D graphics, multiplayer, etc. enabled the game to have its influence and longevity. This could be seen initially with new level packs created soon after the game came out. Then in recent years, whole modifications to the game have been enabled, things such as Brutal Doom and Project Brutality, and then onto whole new games made using the Doom engine, such as the recent Sulaco. id Software created an ecosystem where people could be familiar with not only the Doom engine, but the notion of modding on PC. At the time that id Software came out with Doom, the emergence and increasing widespread use of personal computers enabled this small group to pioneer and compete with much more established game industry entities, be they EA or Japanese games companies such as Capcom. The use of innovative techniques to create 3D graphics, or the illusion of 3D, allowed id Software to create a new experience compared to say what was available on console at the time. For example, at the time of Doom's release, Japanese games were in a more dominant position on console with various 2D hits. id Software were able to use emerging PC technology and its user base to innovate various things such as 3D graphics, not viable on console, and have an audience for it. The open nature of the PC allowed for tinkering and experimenting, that allowed new techniques to be developed. As a side note, their ability to create the game was in part due to the workstation they used, by Next, a company founded by Steve Jobs. Outside of technology, distribution was another factor. By using the shareware model, they were able to distribute a free demo basically to people, so they were able to try it before purchasing the full game. The development of Doom, in my opinion, showcases a good example of how a small company pushing the boundaries and experimenting, be that technological or otherwise, were able to innovate and pioneer against more established entities.